this correct, as far as I know, we are now live. Let me just, oh no, wait, hang on. I have to check it through the old YouTubes. Who is live?
Gmail.
We are live. Yep, and I'm getting email. So, quick sound check. Let's hear you. Okay, more. Give me a bit more of you.
More of me?
Yep.
Sound-wise?
Yep. You were again accidentally muted there for a second, but that was, I have now fixed it, and now everything is fine. And now we can get back to doing things correctly. How much sitcom television can you hear in the background?
Lots.
Lots?
Look at that.
Was it alright? Kettle. Oh,
no, I can hear it, Ross, but it's not.
Alright.
It's not as if it's.
Let me hang on. I'll confer with my tech. Everything's. Joe, could you turn that down a couple of notches? And now we're all set because Brittany has left to go do a play.
Is she rehearsing?
She's rehearsing. She's currently in a run-through right now.
Fezziwig.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which none of us had time for.
Not.
Well, I theoretically didn't have time for it, but now that I was done with all of my everything, it eventually it worked. I don't know. It worked out just fine.
Good.
Now, how do I? Good, lovely. Okay, so I'm gonna put that on small. Right, all set.
We've had COVID for the best part of 2 weeks.
Yeah. How is Rebecca feeling? She was the positive test, was she not?
Well, she got it first, and then asked me just to test every day. Not asked me. I mean, she suggested maybe I should, and that's for a different reason. And sure enough, bang! Within 2 days of her testing pos, mine came up, and now hers is on the wane. On the wane, yeah. She's got like a fainter red line now, but mine's ruby red.
You are still patient zero. How are your taste buds? Are you still in flavor country?
I'm okay. She lost her tastes for a little while, and like I was quick to say, there's a joke there that she probably didn't have much taste to begin with because she's going out with me. But she lost her taste altogether.
Oh, you need to be
for a little while, and of course there's me still eating, going, I'm fine, I taste everything. Yeah, but she's getting her taste buds back now, and and to prove it, she's just opened these lovely dill pickle chips. We do have one remaining Gravedigger beer, but she doesn't want to open that until her taste buds have fully recovered.
I fully respect that. Because I was worried about my taste buds because I think I've been sick for 2-3 weeks in a row. This is probably the best, most well and normal I have felt for a very long time.
Well, that's good to hear.
And I'm on, this is like day 3 or 4 of both Brittany and the baby being sick. So trying to get him to sleep, and he's being all congested. So we'll see. Things may go very off the wall here very soon.
Joe's there though.
I've got the little thing telling me if he wakes up. Joe's here, but
yeah,
she doesn't want to deal with it.
Just keep it down for an hour or so. We'll be as quickly as we can. I guess then neither of us needs to wear a mask. I've got it here just in case we do need to, just in case it gets down the.
I kept thinking about that. I kept thinking, oh, you've got COVID. Should we do our show? And I went, wait.
That's right.
Wait, that's dumb. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but it was a problem. Okay. Well,
hopefully it doesn't work that way. I don't think technology works that way. I don't think.
So.
There was something before, a couple of years ago, and it turned out to be a complete a Reddit. It was just a bit of fun. But of course, someone posted something on Facebook or one of those platforms, social media platforms, that that a company, I think it was in the States, had asked everyone when they go for their Zoom calls to be masked up, everybody to be masked up in their own places, because one of the members of the Zoom had too much anxiety about seeing people not with face masks on. So they asked everybody to take part with their face masks on, just to placate this one person. And of course the hate that was then foisted on this company for it was completely unfounded, because it was just a piece of nonsense, and people, of course, believed it, that was actually a thing.
Oh. See, I mean, you believe that the stupid things are serious. That's sort of the problem. That's what's happened in the last few years. Yeah, you hear a story and you think, no, that can't be true, and then it is true. So now my threshold for is stupid but is real is much, much higher.
Okay. It's, you don't know anymore. These days we're watching everything CGI'd. You watch something on a clip that someone posted to Reels, and of course the amount of people that immediately believe it is probably the reason why they post them in the first place, because they think, we're going to fool a bunch of people by doing this. And
what I like are the really obvious ones. I saw one, and it was a guy saying, oh, this is, look at this domino trick, and he knocks down some dominoes, and then it pans over, and the dominoes knock down, and then the dominoes go into the sky, and there's this castle floating up in the sky, and all the bits, like, individually go back and forth along the ramparts and the walls, and finally the whole castle comes down and lands on the earth, and says, oh, look at that.
Crazy. I need to check that out.
I'm okay with that one. If it's completely obvious that it's all CGI, just ridiculous. Because I like impressive CGI. I think it's just, almost as impressive as things in real life. I would like to think. Maybe people feel different.
Well, we were just discussing that as we were coming along, funnily enough. How I don't want to delay your show any longer, but I'm going to by about another minute. The fact that we watched a movie last night on ye old Netflix, which it's been on there for a while now. We thought, we'll get to that eventually, because it looks very quirky and fun. Turned out to be a Canadian independent movie, and it's called I Like Movies.
Huh.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I've not even heard
of it. And then
we
watched it, and I said, I got so much more out of this quirky little cheap independent Canadian movie than I would out of going to watch $100 million Marvel 3-hour CGI eye candy fest, which leaves me these days just completely because we've seen it all now so often. There's no character development. It's just a bunch of eye candy. Once they got so far with CGI, they just it's not impressing me anymore. I want to see characters. I want to see. I want to believe.
Movies can be popular and successful because of a wow factor. Of, this is new, no one's ever done this before. But then it doesn't hold up sometimes unless it's got a really solid story behind it. And you're like, oh yeah, you're invested in the character, you're invested in the writing, you're invested in the plot.
Mm-hmm. They just got boring to me. All those they just seem to all be the same now, and there's no longer a wow factor because we know what CGI can do. So it's when you went to watch Titanic the first time, you were like, wow, this is incredible. Even though the movie sucked, the CGI was incredible in it, and I was completely
made by it. Go back and then
Lord
of the Rings, year after year after year. It's so weird.
Yeah, okay. Well, 3 or 4 years later, Lord of the Rings kind of broke the mold there again, and then Avatar. And then I'm like, well, there's nothing more now. It's just they can do whatever they like and make it look real. So it's no longer impressive anymore. I want to see people, real characters in believable situations.
Doing real, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's my rant on Hollywood finished. Are we looking at beers, mate?
Yes, indeed. To get beginning, we might as well start in earnest. I am Ross, and joining me is my co-host Ian, and together, despite the intermittent rants about Hollywood and movies, we are attempting to drink Nova Scotia dry. And in fact, I'm realizing something. Well, it's not that I forgot. I just have not been in a position to upload last week's podcasty episode that my wife and I did where we drank some sours. And it's just, I haven't been desk because I've been taking care of sick family who are nearly not sick. I don't know, how do you, on the mend? They're nearly fine. Something like that. But we are trying to decide on the holiday beers, and I think that's going to be next week. We're going to try to find some Christmas ones. So in the interim, what we had downstairs were a couple of cream ales. There are 2 cream ales from we've done a few salt boxes recently, but I don't think we've been to Stillwell yet. And you picked these ones up, did you not? A couple of Stillwells? Right.
I think so. I can't remember, Ross. It would have been a little while ago now. I'm not very good at anything, but I'm not very good at memory either.
Stillwell Brewing is on Kempt Road in Halifax, and someone posted on ye old Facebook, the Maritime Craft Brew Enthusiasts or whatever, it's top 5 or 6 of the year, and Stillwell was up there, and he actually did mention Stillwell. They haven't made anything not good. Everything has been excellent from Stillwell, so I'm curious about that. And
didn't he make the brewery of the year #1 of his favorite brewery?
Oh, that might have been it.
Is that?
And I'm not even sure how new they are. So yeah, I've done absolutely zero research whatsoever. But it does. Oh, it's good. It's got a little bit of stuff writing on the side of them. But the other thing is, the other one is from Saltbox, and it is Nun on the Run. And I'm curious about that because do you suppose they're referencing the Eric Idle and Robbie Coltrane British movie, same name, Nuns on the Run?
I did. It obviously struck a chord with me, and I thought, well, I've heard the term before, and like you said, it was a plural thing. It was nuns on the run, not none on the run. But I love the literal, if you're going to call a beer Nun on the Run, why not do the artwork on the can to be a nun running? They've been very literal in their...
Yes, it is definitely a nun on the run.
There is. Why is it called that? God only knows.
It doesn't really give you much more on the side of the can for the description of the beer. I think they just sort of went with something that sounds kind of funny. I mean, it's an all black can, and then just a little white outline, the white writing "Nun on the Run." And so, what does a nun have to do with cream ale? Is the other factoid.
Goodness.
Local honey, something. Anyway, they are both sub 5% beers. So I'm glad we've got the full 473 here. So, but the weaker of the two, or the less alcohol percentage of the two, is the Saltbox Nun on the Run, weighing in at 4.7%. And it says on the side of the can, this lager-style cream ale is brilliant with sparkling clarity. Made with local honey, this beer is faintly sweet and quenches your thirst with low hop bitterness. And I forgot, the other thing that I sometimes do is if we're doing a beer like, for example, the Dunkelweissens when we did that, I look up a little bit more about the type of beer, mostly because we're not geniuses, professionals. I don't know. What are we not? We're not a lot of things, but certainly.
No, I'm not. I'm not a lot of it.
Experts.
I just like beer.
Ooh.
Is that a good enough reason?
Same. Yeah, I'm an enthusiast, and I will try many things, lots of different things. But I couldn't tell you what makes a cream ale a cream ale. Like, is a cream ale different from a pale ale? Is it different from a pilsner? Is it different from a lager? What? In fact, I think one of these did say it was a lagered cream ale.
Cream ale. I know.
And
it's really great.
Well, now you're just making it even more confusing to me. I don't understand things at all. However, Ross, I do like the smell.
Do you? I believe you do, don't you? That.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does yours have?
Yeah.
Yours has got the little. Do you have CBA
King
and S
Street
at the
thing.
bottom? What's your little? What does that say? I cannot make that out. It's blurry.
It says craft beer. Something. Then it gets really small, and I can't make that out without my glasses.
Well, mine's the one. It has the King Street and the light ship, so it's all three. This is what I was complaining about before, where they've got three different. They've named each of their tap rooms, and I got all excited because I thought it meant that there were 3 actual breweries and they had their own independent brews at each one. I wanted to go in and get a King Street, the brown lager and the and the everything. But nope, they are all Saltbox locations, which is fine. Expand, have lots, but it's just a little bit disappointed. Only slightly. It all fits.
It does, doesn't it? Perfectly.
Lovely.
Fits right in there.
A lovely tall glass. We definitely need more of these. That's the thing.
Craft. It looks like a Pils. Funny old thing.
Well, it's a bit more corn colored. It's not pale. It's not sort of a light straw. It's definitely golden. A little bit of a gold hue to it. Mine's the bubbles. The head is still there at the top, but the bubbles have kind of subsided. It doesn't look entirely carbonated as much. These spent some time in the refrigerator. And
right. Well, mine were in that new little refrigerator that I tucked away in the corner of the apartment because, for obvious reasons, ours just kept exploding in the corner of the room. I thought, can't be having this. So they've now got their own dedicated refrigerator, and they've been in there ever since we got it in last week. But I did take them out of the fridge earlier on this afternoon for that very reason. So they've been.
You should call the little fridge the bomb shelter.
Bomb shelter.
Because it's the only place that things don't explode.
The explosion, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's explosion proof. It's the cure.
I like it. So mine are much more toward room temperature now, thankfully.
Well, I took them out of the fridge about an hour ago. But I thought also,
I'll be right.
The cream ales and the lagers and the pales, the lighter ones, you want them a little cooler.
Yeah.
The lighter they get, the cooler you want them.
That's right.
I've
still
got
plenty of flavour. Refrigerated for too long. What's the smell, mate? They said there was a bit of honey in this, did they?
There were a sweet, yes, some sort of sweet part of this. Not really getting it off the top. It smells like a tasty lager, but it smells just like a lager. There's not a lot of additional personality and whatnot going. So lager style cream ale. I don't know what we're calling it. How we're judging it, describing it. Is it going to be a lager? Is it going to be? And again, I'm not entirely certain what I'm looking for in a cream ale. You tell me, what's a cream ale supposed to taste like?
This lager style cream ale. So I don't know. I don't flipping know.
Head's almost completely gone, but we can certainly get through them rather quick because again, 4.3%. So I think these are going to be the ones that you're going to want to.
4.7 this one?
4.7. Yeah, what I say, 4.7. You want to get through it on a hot, sunny summer afternoon. So obviously we want to do this in a nice cold December evening after a warm hurricane. Well, it wasn't a hurricane. It was just hurricane strength winds. Oh, we didn't have the conversation about your internet connection, did we?
We didn't. You went down for a few seconds there, but it came back in again, and that was almost 20 minutes without any interruption. Yeah. So that's not bad.
No, I think we'll stick to that. Anyway, here we are for the 4.7 with the. Let's hope it's got a little bit of honey and faintly sweet. Quenches your thirst. Good, because I'm thirsty. Jaws.
Yes.
Ooh. There's a little bit of a bite on there. I said it was not very carbonated, but that's got a nice little nip.
That's why that's why it's cream ale. It's way smoother to me than a lager. It's not the crispness you get from a lager tends to me it just tends to be a bit over-carbonated lagers and a bit very crisp. This is a different texture almost.
Yeah.
Than a lager. What? And why on earth is there a fruit fly in December? What's going on? That's really smooth and hey, dare I say it, Rebecca, creamy than a lager would be, right?
Okay, so I looked it up, and unfortunately the answer is scientific, and we must have said this before. Cream ales are fermented in warm temperatures, where lagers are fermented cold. So it all is just to do with the process. So a cream ale is just a lager that was fermented in a warm temperature. But The flavor profile, a cream ale is more malt flavor and maybe a bit of a fruitiness than an American lager. It's more similar to a Kolsch, but with corn adjunct flavor.
Wow.
Well,
That was very scientific.
oh, corn.
It's it is more malty than a lager.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not.
But remember, this is the lager style. So maybe the other one's going to be completely off the wall and really slightly malty, much more golden.
Ross, does drinking this, does it remind you a little bit of the Toller Gold?
Yes.
In its, I said it, the texture.
Yeah.
Which is, you know what I mean?
Like just a more rounded, a very golden, it's a mild sweetness, but I think it's sort of mentioned a corn flavor, even a little bit, that's sort of, but the smoothness of it, the Toller has a bit more of a carbonation to it, so there's even more of a bite on it than this does have. I
like this.
It's not as light as I thought it was going to taste. I actually feel a little heavy. It's very full. It's very full body flavored.
I don't think it's talk about honey. Maybe there is something there. But what I'm thinking is, it's not holding. It's not holding the flavour very long. I'm just taking another swig, and no, aroma. I'm not just the second big swig I took there. It doesn't seem as flavourful for some reason. Maybe I got plenty.
I feel like it's hanging about, and like you say, if it's similar to having a Toller Gold. So I feel like I've just had a Toller Gold, and it's lingering with that. So I think maybe the lager style is, hey, you've had some lager. We're gonna keep reminding you about it for the next 20 minutes. Oh, your burps are gonna taste like this.
Yep. Well, I'm not going to get that off of this. It's very smooth, creamy. There is I'm searching for the honey. I'm not really getting it, but you said there's a sweetness.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit. If you didn't say honey, I wouldn't say yeah. But if in saying this has got a honey bit to it, I'm like, okay, I can sense it. You know, you have to go looking. It's not obvious or anything. It's not like a mead going down. And it's not. It's going nowhere nearer to an amber ale. It's definitely staying on the lager side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like it, and I would.
It's fine.
I would go as far as to say I could kind of see me going on a session with this, because it's not massively alcoholic. It's still 4.7, which is not. It's not piss water, mate. I mean, drink 4 or 5 of these and you're going to know it. But I think this is actually a bit of a session ale, because it hasn't got the, like you just said, it's not carbonated like a lager. Yeah. Already, I can hardly see any bubbles in it at all. It's perfectly quenching. It's perfectly tasty, and it hasn't got any lingering aftertaste that you might get with a skunkier beer. It doesn't have any of the bitterness that that an IPA has, that you and I don't exactly love. This is really good, smooth, cream ale, apparently. I'd say like a really good, smooth lager. It's quite nice. In the same vein as the Toller Gold for me, when you've been lauding that for the last couple of years, this has kind of got that feel about it to me. It's really good.
This is what it comes down to for me when, and I think I got this at the Saltbox location down in Lunenburg, so I can't remember. Most of the time when you go into the tap rooms, they're single cans or they sell them by the 4. You can get a 4-pack of, just quickly grab a 4-pack of your favorite ones off the shelf. That's fine. Now, when you go into the NSLC, most of them are all in singles, but it's very... When I've looked through the singles and I haven't found anything, I said, all right, I'm going to go have a look and see what's in the cases, because they have a different section for the 4-packs, and that's where they hide their Propeller ESBs. You can't get a single can of Propeller ESB. You got to go back for the 4-pack. Ditto, the Boxing Rock IPA, I think, and a few others. 9 Locks have got a number of theirs, but it's in a case. And this is the kind of beer that I would, knowing ahead of time, I would say, right, we're going out to the beach tonight. Okay, I'm going to go get a 6-pack of these, and then that's just me for the beach. And I get that, and that's why the Toller Gold is kind of my go-to, because go in and you can just buy a case of the stuff. You don't need to say, here's the best lager. Well, I need to go buy a bunch of lager for tonight. And you're there going 1 can, 2 can, 3 can, 4, and you're counting out. Not that it's a chore, but I feel like there's a difference between buying a beer that you can buy in bulk, as opposed to a beer that you'd buy, one can at a time. And this should be in a 4-pack at least.
But they weren't, I take it.
No, they were single individuals. But I will buy a single individual craft beer, and it is 4.7%, and it is kind of a lager tasting cream ale. And you're like, really? I feel like you really need to get right deep into that one and get straight to her.
Well, I like it. I could easily get through 4 of these.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
if you were going to drag me off to the beach with a 6-pack, Ross, yeah, I'd go with it.
Well, no, you bring your own 6-pack. Then we'd have a really good night by the side of the fire.
No, you can do the driving, and we'll go to the beach.
No, okay, all right. I'll have 4, and we'll stay until midnight.
Mm-hmm.
If I have the entire evening to get through them all.
It just occurred to me, you don't have your usual backdrops. Did you not have a picture of either of these?
I don't of Stillwell. I haven't acquired it yet, but I'm also not in my usual location. I am closer to where my son is sleeping, so I can get to him really quick, because as previously mentioned, I don't know if we got into this since starting the actual recording. Yes, my wife is away. She is in a play, so she is rehearsing all this week. And we went over it back and forth. Chances are she'll be back tonight somewhere between 9:30 and 10:30, which is a big window. And I didn't want to leave that up for us doing this really late tonight.
As opposed to in the basement at your PC.
Yeah, where I've got all my fancy green screen and my fancy that. In behind me right now is my fancy mess.
Is that like a... From here, I know it's not. There's something that it looks like almost like a model. Oh, it's not. It's a combination of a few things. It looks like it's. You can't tell because, of course, it's in dimension when I'm looking at it. It looks like it's like a box. Yeah, absolutely. That thing there. The box atop the shelf.
That's a record player with speakers.
Is that a record player?
There's a dusting mop, and then there's a piece, an underpiece of a chair is up there. Over here, that's the bits of our wedding invitation where you drop off the cards. Oh, over here's my favorite. That thing in the clear plastic box. That's some sort of Christmas ornament that Brittany's mother got us. And I'm not quite certain what it is. Ooh, that's the umbrella that I got for Brittany from the dollar. I think it was Valley Village or Dollar Store. And when you open it, it's one of those clear ones, but it's got patterns in it, and the pattern is leaves. So it's got these pressed leaves.
Autumnal.
Very autumnal. That's a shirt that I wore recently, and there's a few other things. A hat. There's Brittany's ukulele. The head of her ukulele is right over there. This is kind of when we don't know where else to put it. Now,
it breaks up.
You put it there. I won't show you the rest of the room because currently, so this is I'm in the dining room, but unfortunately the dining room is not a room that we dine in very often, so it just becomes the stuff room, and there is stuff here.
Well, that's where we had our that's where we had this. Was it the 6 of us or the 4 of us sat around your table doing the IPA night a couple of years ago?
Yes, there were 5 of us that night.
Right, and of course you also had that very wonderful Oh, what's it called? The Swiss thing with the fondue.
Oh, the
Get a
fun.
fondue.
We're hoping to have another one of those. Invite everyone
Big one?
round, and yeah.
Yeah.
But we occasionally try to dress it up and make it look like a proper room. But for the most part, we just kind of tuck things.
Dining room.
We're
Yeah.
also, well, I always say this is it's my only excuse to tidy the house. I say we have to have a party at least once every season because otherwise the house just gets out of hand.
That's your reason for having a party.
Yeah, you have to tidy up, and otherwise I don't know what state things would be in. So I've always, in order to force myself to tidy things up, I just have a party. I'm like, all right, well, I've set a date for it.
I'm going to leave. What have I got? A couple of fingers at the bottom there.
Yeah, I've left a little bit at the bottom of mine as well. So now
we've got 2 fridges in the apartment. They turn on and off independently. So there's always this kind of as one of them cools down and then the other one brings up the roof.
We are products of the 20th century. So honestly, I think I have been places when there is no electronic drone at all times, and it's a little unsettling. I think it's probably why I don't like camping. I'm sort of
Don't like what?
I don't. It might be one of the reasons I don't like camping. I can't comfortably sleep at night unless there's that. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's just the that's the hot water heater kicking in, something like that.
Yeah.
And as
you
soon
can't
as
fire up the generator in
yeah, exactly.
Camping just to make a noise.
You know what? I kind of like that. That's one of my favorite noises. Early in the morning after a snowy night. Especially if the power's out and things like that, and you open up the door, it's crisp and quiet outside. You can't hear any cars go by, and then all you hear is everyone's snow blowers and generators starting up. I love that noise. It's just how it breaks the silence. I don't know why. I'm a very industrialized.
I wouldn't care if I never heard that noise again.
Oh.
That means it has not snow to clear.
Buy your cabin in the woods. Go on up to the North Mountain. You get way back on from the main road. A nice 100-foot long driveway is what you'd like to your nice log cabin with one of those cast iron kitchen stoves in the middle of the house, and you just heat the house with the stove.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic. I'm drawn to that. I'm one of these people that give me Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with 8 feet of snow. Wonderful. But as long as it's all melted by Boxing Day and I don't see it again until the following year, I'll be quite happy with that.
I will stay in a hotel on the 18th floor, looking out at bright lights and a beautiful city. But imagine if that was home. If your home was an apartment it could be a nice apartment, but I don't like it. I don't like living in an apartment building. I've done it once or twice, but not for a very long period of time. I think it needs to be a physical for independent. Well, and it's not entirely environmental of me, because I think I read a study at some point saying that Europe, I don't know why I'm pronouncing Europe that way, but places in Europe, the townhouse ideal, where all the houses are squished next to each other, is actually better for energy efficiency, because you're all sharing of the walls. Yeah. Where 4 independent walls is actually bad for energy efficiency. But I'm like, I like 4 walls. Get away! Shoo! Go over there.
I hadn't thought of that. That might be the only saving feature of being all packed in like sardines. No, I like being out in the idea now of being out in a field, and my neighbour being like a half a kilometre away. Really appeals to me now. I'm not into this idea of now being road. It's almost like cattle, when you're herding cattle, you're all squished in like sardines in a. No, I don't like that. I now like the idea of having my own space. I don't care particularly where it is either. I have an
idea. I've done the thing where I take Brittany and we drive and we go along the South Shore through St. Margaret's Bay, my old stomping grounds, where we go and have a look at my old home village, the street that I lived on, all the nearby stuff. And I think what I'm going to start doing now when we do that is I'm going to bring friends. So I think Brittany and I are going to take you and Rebecca with us, and we'll do a little St. Margaret's Bay tour, and I'll show you all the schools that I went to, the places that I've been to, and I'll show you the house I grew up in, and how you can't really see it well from the road because of how much woods surrounds it. It's very woody.
A nice Sunday afternoon drive in the snow.
Sure. I mean, it could be in the summer. It doesn't really matter. Anywho, we've been waxing poetic about our dream homes and whatnot. Stillwell Brewing Company is, I think it's new. I think it's new to us. So here's the thing. Oh, crud. I didn't even look. Yep, there we go. We haven't missed any comments. That's good because my thing went away. Stillwell Beer Garden? Brewing... No, wait. I want the brewing... Holy cow. Brewing. Stillwell Brewing. Is the brewing something... that? Yeah, because we've got the Stilly Pills downstairs. We might even have the best bitter. Our bars, beers... Tap room and hi-fi bookings. Hotspot for the best ales, uniquely set to enjoy beer. I'm not getting a lot of information about the brewery itself. They don't.
Went to what was the name of the pub that we went to on the where I got this from, Rebecca? They had a wonderful old pool. Bar billiards. It was bar billiards table in the pub in is it on Quimple? I can't remember now. Or is it Kemp? No, it's Kemp, like you said, Kemp Road, whatever it's called. Yeah, we had a bite to eat in there, and I picked a couple of cans while we were there. That had a great little bar billiards table in it. It was really nice. It's something I haven't played for about 40 years. Last time, maybe a bit less than that, with my dad. And I've never seen a bar billiards table since. And to see it sat there in this pub in the city, and I was like, this is really, really cool. And it's got it's got the pound coin slot, pound sterling coin slot to put in. I said, what do you put in here if you want to play? And they say they've got some pound coins that you can use.
So it's actually authentic.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely authentic. It was made in Essex, I think, which is the county I grew up. Well, I was born in.
So when you say bar billiard, so a billiard table, and that's the one without the pockets, right? It's all about the bounces.
It doesn't have pockets. It has holes in the table itself that you put the balls down into, and there's right in the middle this kind of strange wooden mushroom that sits by the holes, and if you knock that over, it's a very old game, and of course they're all variations on a theme: billiards, pool, snooker. They're all the same, but they're all variations on a theme. They're not all the same, but they all use, of course, a pool cue and balls with different rules to it. And I could not remember. I actually messaged my dad afterwards and says, Dad, the last time I see one of these, I was playing against you back in it would have been about the mid-80s, late 80s maybe, the last time I saw a table like that.
I don't think I've ever seen a proper one of those tables. That's neat. Maybe I'll have to get that down there. So I'm in doing a little bit of research here on the off time. I'm learning that their main location seems to be at Gottingen Street, and they've got this new location on Kempt Road, which is sort of a brand new flashy thing, and it's just this summer, so it's 2023. I'm not finding more about the how long they've been around, but here's the description. We are a small brewing project in Halifax. We focus on oak-fermented, bottle-conditioned farmhouse-style ales that are subtle, balanced, and unique to our brewery. We also make draft-only lagers for Stillwell Beer Garden, and the Stillwell Freehouse. So, so it's the Stillwell Brewing Company, but there's a Stillwell tap room, and they do other things. So, anyway, let's see. It is a 4.8%, a tiny bit stronger, and it says on the side of the can, it's this lovely beige-ish can. I don't know what you call that. Taupe, very off cream. Oh, if it's a cream can for the cream ale. I mean, well done right there. Big bright red letters of the Stillwell and cream ale, and a funny little I'm gonna go with maple leaf type thing. I don't think it's hop leaves as the middle bit there, and then the Stillwell Brewing Company logo up at the top of the can. And I like this. It's got the Stillwell Brewing they've got their Stillwell Brewing Company logo, which looks a bit like a Ferris wheel made of diamonds. But then there's another one that says Friends in Foam, and there's a picture of a beer being held up by the Little Caesars pizza guy, and that says SB for Stillwell Brewing and not Strong Bad. Brewery and beer shop is on Kempt Road. Hole's web shop and wholesale is at stillwellbrewing.com. Visit our bars. So there's multiple taproom bars thing. This is them making their own thing. Brewed in the traditional method as a true hybrid beer, American hops balancing a German grist, cream ale is a nostalgic and highly sessionable everyday beer. So I think what they're saying here, this is leading us more to the whole, hey, it's warm fermented lager instead of cold fermented lager, but it's sessionable, it's everyday, it's very basic. Give it a whirl. Yep, there was a nice, comfortable, no-nonsense smell to that.
Ready
what?
We love that word. I'm going to say it 3
bready.
Times. Say it yes, bready.
You may be right.
Bready.
Where, as the only description that I could get as the difference between a lager and a cream ale is that a cream ale has a bit more of a malt flavor and potentially fruitier, like a Kolsch, or closer to a Kolsch away from a lager. But I think we've had Kolsch sometimes that said this is a lager style Kolsch. This one is not pretending to be lager style cream ale. It just says this is definitely cream ale. Booyah! There you go.
And yet, looking at it, it's a different color. It's very much more like a lager to look at than the other one. Weirdly, to me, anyway, it looks more lagery.
It looks more lagery, doesn't it? The other one, ooh, that was a big noise. The other one seemed more golden and darker at the time, but I don't think that's what's happening at the moment.
Ross?
Yes.
It's been a while since I've used this. Yeah, I'm getting. Remember, maybe the last time was maybe a year or so ago. I'm actually getting a bit of that butterbeanness that
okay.
that I that I haven't.
That kind of an interesting bitter, and that interesting bitter / something going on with the hop profile, and the bitter kind of flavors. So I think there's more going on this. It's a more complicated beer than just here you go, lager.
Oh, I'm no doubt. This is a craft cream ale. I'm sure I'm not going to go, just like a lager. But it looks more like a lager while it's in the glass, but it don't smell
apparently
like one.
If you make a lager in a warm room, it's probably more complicated than that. Then it's a cream ale. I don't know.
Cream ale. I think it is probably a little more complicated.
Well, you
than
warm
that, but I
ferment
don't know.
it. You know, you put a scarf around it. You
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Put some socks on.
That's the one.
That kind of thing on it.
That type of stuff. Rub its hands together.
Yeah. I'm almost tempted to try it, shall we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
Sure.
Ooh. Oh. Yeah. Ooh. That was unexpectedly bitter.
It does have a little bitterness to it, and it does have a little bit of the butterbeaniness to it, but in its flavour.
Yep.
Interesting. It's not as smooth as the
Saltbox.
As the other, I don't think.
And is that because a lager is more easier to drink? I mean, don't get me wrong. If I had one of these, I'd say that was odd. And if I brought a 6-pack of those to the beach, I'd get through it. But I don't think I'd enjoy that as much as the Saltbox.
It's quite distinct.
I don't personally like the extra bitterness in there, which is weird because we prefer a bitter going on, but there's
plenty of flavour. I won't say there isn't that. It's got plenty of flavour, but there is definitely. I tell you what. Again, what's to qualify the difference between a cream ale and a pale ale? That to me tastes more like erring towards a pale ale.
Yes.
Than a cream ale.
But the initial flavor, it's... And I think this is why the middle body is all... Yeah. Boiled water. Put it in a bowl. Boil kettle. Add 2. It also has
5
things.
Folks, 5 TV.
But the medium, the middle bit, because there is nothing at the first swallow, like I drank it, and as I was drinking, I thought, okay, this is really smooth, it's easy to drink. And when I stopped, the middle mouthful went, whoa, I am super bitter. And then it smoothed out at the back, but there was such a difference between the front end and the middle. It was a shock.
It's not as malty as the other one.
No. It's
a little more hoppy, a little drier, a little bitterer. Bitterer? Yeah, that's the word. I've just invented it. And the result of that, I'm not loving it.
No. I know which one I prefer at the moment. I still have quite a bit of it left to go. So, but I've managed to get all of it into the glass.
That's not to say I don't dislike it. It's not like I'm not in the IPA territory here. And I've got to say, of course, maybe we're slowly coming over to the IPA train while it's slowly losing its fashion. I don't know.
Made right and made well. Yes, I will accept your IPAs.
As we found out, to our surprise, the Malternate reality that we tried there maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago was really quite delicious, that was just your. Yeah, I was like, "What? Are we becoming IPA fans?" So it has, like you said, it has to be it has to be a really good one for us.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened to be.
Has to be. They have to make it for Ross and Ian, of course, to make it. It just has to be something about it which appeals. And that
weirdo IPA, I think, is what we've arrived at. Like, is your IPA a little weird? Does it have its own personality that you can't? We are going to like it, but not because I think the first one that really sold me on that. I tried a New England IPA. This is the NE IPA, and I went, well, I'll try that, and I went, ooh, I like this. And then later on, I tried a black IPA, which is a much darker flavored one, and obviously malt forward. And I was like, ooh, I like black IPAs. This is the thing. So it's an IPA, but then you add a little weirdness to it, and then I say, okay, I am into this. This is delicious.
It's the smashes that really turn us off. The single malt and the single hops ones that make us go.
Yeah, and I think those are the worst. Like a smash. The smashes are our least favorites, and I think I picked up another one. Someone mentioned it. I said, "Oh, what is that? Oh, that's our single malt." And I said, "I'm not gonna buy that." I think I turned that one down. I said, "I will not buy that from you." But give me these other ones.
And my brother loves them. He really likes the IPAs. When I went to the UK in the summer, and then we go to a Wetherspoons together, he and I, and we sit there and we try half a dozen different real ales, and he was immediately drawn to the IPAs. And of course, I'm going the other way. I'm like, look, what's the least hoppy beer you have here? I want the darker stuff, and he loves the IPAs. So each to their own. And
we've also learned, and we've got to. Honestly, I forgot about this. We could have done Dippas. We've got some double IPAs down there. But I feel like maybe that's a January kind of thing. I think the snowstorm, will the power go out? That's a good night for some double IPAs.
So do we have at least 2 double IPAs then that we could use?
Well,
yes, good.
I might have some that I need. We need to do another parking lot exchange. So some.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, as we found out to our pleasure that. The double IPAs, even though it sounds counterproductive, it sounds like, how is it possible that the IPA that turns our faces inside out is not doubled by the addition of even more hops? But it doesn't work that way.
No, I'm sure there's some scientific reason behind it, but somehow we get away with it, and it gets away with it, and you say, here's an IPA, and we think, gross, and then someone says, we've doubled it. And we're like, bring it on!
Yeah, and then tripled and quads. I bought the Church Brewing's what do you call it? The Saint
Their pack,
Nicholas
and it contains the Belgian triple.
Belgian triple, the Belgian quad, in fact. So I'm looking forward to having that one again. I know that's something that on Christmas time.
So I go to, or wait, okay, going all the way back. I am a host on the wine bus around here in the Annapolis Valley, and we go to a number of different places, and one of the places that we visit is the Millstone Harvest Brew House. It's the only brewery on the wine tour, and I always talk it up, and I always tell people this, and I always say, listen, if you want to talk beer, I'm happy to talk about it. And all the wine people want to talk about is cider. But we had a year-end Christmas party just the other week, and we went up, and everyone said, oh, make sure you have lots of stuff here. And everyone brought a bottle of this and a bottle of that. There's wine everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, this is all right. And my version of drinking wine is, I'm not a wine lover, but give me the boldest, most interesting red you can find. It's like the crazy, vampiric, nutball flavored stouts you can find. It's that when you find a red with some personality. So there were a few really good red wines that I liked, but Millstone Harvest Brew House was there. The owners, Carolyn and Matt, were there, whose names I have fully learned. I am still in the midst of trying to nail down a time where we can get Joe, the brewmaster, here on the show. And so now I have even more questions because so they had this bottle, and so. Everyone brought bottles and whatnot. So there's all these wine bottles, and then there's a couple of beer bottles. I went, oh, thank goodness Millstone brought us some beer. Good, they brought us their pale ale.
Yeah.
Or their pale ale. So there was 2 bottles of pale ale, and that was it. Everything else was they brought 2 ciders. No one tried the cider. I should have had the cider, but I was sort of, oh, come on, I got to be a beer enthusiast. And then eventually we found this other one. We said, oh, wait, what's this other one? And we picked it up and we looked at it. We're like, oh. And someone said, oh, what is this? This is a whiskey cask aged, 13 months in a whiskey cask aged beer, which is a combination of their Port in the Storm stout and their, was it the Blue Heron ESB? But it was 2 of their dark beers mixed together and then aged in a whiskey cask for 13 months. And I went, where can I get this? And the owner of the brewery standing there telling me, we only made 125 bottles. And we brought one here tonight. So they're pouring it in little champagne glasses, and I tried a little bit. And I will have opinions, but I have excellent news. The following day, I think I was driving out to the location because my daughter plays hockey just next, I want to say next door, up the street from the Millstone Harvest Brew House. So whenever I drop her off at hockey, I'm like, So I stopped in. And I said, hey, what's new? You know, is anything new? Oh, no, well, we're going to do some new stuff next summer and this and that, blah, 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 blah. So they didn't really have anything new on the tap right then and there. They had nothing in there. Well, they had the cans, and I almost bought some Port in the Storm cans. And then I said, listen, I was at an event the other night, and your owners brought this thing, and it was this whiskey-aged cask thing. And they said, oh, yeah, it's this. And they point to this bottle sitting up there on the counter. It's got... I think I put it downstairs, or I would show it to you right now. And he said, "Oh, it's this." I said, "Oh, good." And the guy Chris, he's one of the bartenders. He's the greatest guy. And he leans in. He says, "This is the last bottle." And I went, "Ring it up! I am buying." So I have one of the few of the 120-ish bottles, and I was specifically going to save it for our little Christmas get-together, but I remember you and Rebecca definitely cannot make it to the little Christmas get-together, so... Or wait.
I'm on night shift.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah. We'll find a time, because this is one of the few bottles around, and I did try a taste of it one night, so we'll see if I can get certain... You know, my friends all under one roof to try this thing. It's wax sealed at the top. I'll show you the bottle. It's absolutely insane, but I'm glad that I picked it up. And I think I grabbed another one.
And they've got no plans on bringing it out like I mean, you said it was 120 bottles, whatever. They had no plans, maybe to future, just to see how it tasted and see. Yeah, we might
They
look at
have
that.
already put another mix in the whiskey casks that will be ready next December.
I see.
So,
okay. So
once a year, it's the Christmas thing, and apparently it's just this whiskey cask thing. And I mean, we've had some whiskey cask aged whatnots, and so this is just gonna be maybe a little bit of a special thing. And I don't know how you review that, because you're say this is really hard to get, and just I felt almost privileged to be close to getting it.
Because of course you happen to keep that whiskey barrel aged Russian Imperial Stout from A Bad Apple. That was your. We both had a bottle, a can of it, but of course yours was a slightly different version. And as a result, yours was even stronger. It was like 12.5%.
It was so well. Yours, didn't you buy yours? And he said, "Oh, that's not the right percentage."
I can't remember, but I mean, they were both pretty on the strong side, but they were packaged differently and at different times. And yours was probably 2% stronger than the one I had.
If I remember correctly,
we were
trying
like
two 10, different brews. 5, and 11. Were they not?
Were they? I thought they were.
Wasn't the Leviathan the triple? Wasn't that also an 11? It was double digits and then some.
I don't know.
I think it was pretty high as well.
Talking of double digits, Nanaimo, we got 6 more of them today at the liquor store.
Do I have one of those downstairs?
I don't know. If you don't, it doesn't matter, because I've still got to swing by your gaff and give you your jacket for next week and the 2 or 3 3 cans I've got. Have a check. If not, mate, I've just bought 6 more.
I'll go. I'll go spend some time in the beer cabinet for sure.
Right. We're okay. We're okay.
I did put out a bit of an invite to see if anyone wanted to join us in some Christmas ales, and I think I might. I'm not sure if we've got a nibble or two from the friendly peoples. I'm starting to reach out as well. Our delightful little Facebook group that we've joined, the Maritime Craft Brew Enthusiasts, and honestly, I would have a show where it's us talking to 3 or 4 of them. Some of the guys that are constantly posting, because we drink 2 of these a week, sometimes 3. You know, we get through 2 or 3 of these a week, and I think we are lightweights. We are not quite getting through the craft beer situation in Nova Scotia, and I've been checking the Atlantic Canada beer blog because I'm curious if there's any more Christmas ales coming out, because we were trying to find some new Christmas ales, and I feel like we had like the winter the Odin's, I don't know, the Odin's beard something, but that was an Uncle Leo's. The Hell Bay one, they had their Tannenbaum Christmas tree flavored one. I don't think, I mean, rightly so, do not ever bring that one back. But the ones that are coming, but everyone's just bringing theirs back. Like the Old Biddy's Naughty or Nice, and then I think Garrison had a cookies and cream, I forget what it was, with like milk and cookies. But I don't know that there's anything brand new Christmas themed this year. Is no one making an eggnog cream ale would make sense to me.
As a result of the complete lack of new stuff this season, I actually went to I'll keep talking, but I picked up at the liquor stores what I could find that was posing as a Christmas ale or a seasonal ale, and I bought them all.
Yeah.
The problem is, some of them they're all not Nova Scotian brews. That's the problem.
There have been posts, and I have seen these posts where, because I don't remember if it's the NSLC or if it's someone, but someone promotes a winter beard. Fine. Oh, but where's that from? Muskoka?
It's Muskoka. So therefore I thought, well, I'm going to buy that anyway. And it says it's a double chocolate cranberry stout. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I buy that anyway?
Well, exactly. But the problem is that it's not... It's not Nova Scotian.
No, there's a Moosehead, which of course is. and it's a small batch, but it's a Belgian quadruple spiced fruitcake beer.
Holy
Now, if that
crap!
is, I know.
Let's
If
say
that's
8.5.
not,
It's either 8 or
9.5.
I mean,
9.5.
I'm sorry. If you're a Belgian quad, that's rookie numbers for a Belgian quad.
I know, but it's look at the size of the damn thing for a
It's
start.
true.
It's as big as my head, and that's going to be delicious. I'm
But what I can bring
pretty
you-
sure that's
So some company,
600
I forget if it's the NSLC, but someone put out an advent calendar, and the Nova Scotia craft beer advent calendar, and someone, and a lot of posts on it have been, these are just like the regular stuff that you can get in the LC. I mean, it's Nova Scotia craft brew, but imagine if here we are with a December advent calendar. On the first day of Christmas, my true love give to me the dirty blonde from Nine Locks, which is a delicious beer, but it's not an advent. It's not a Christmas themed beer. You know, I would be fine. And then, you follow it up with a Garrison Nut Brown. Fine. You could get that all the time, though. And I think that's what's come up is no one's done a super specialty thing. I should check in with Two Islands and see what they're doing. It's been a while since I've been out there.
Two Crows, as we've always kind of. I've got one more beer here. I'll come to it. Two Crows seem to have. Well, I know we haven't loved their stuff, but we have tried 3 or 4 fairly recently, and we were like, oh, this is good, and this is quite good. By all accounts, they did 4 different a series of beers that were all delicious. There was I need to go and check them, but they got rave reviews for them, and they were all distinctive and I guess different strengths and different. I want to try those out. I don't know if any of them was Christmassy, but I know they were sweeter than their usual stuff. So I might look into that, getting a box set of that. You can get all 4 of them together in a box set. This is the last one I picked up. This isn't even from Canada. For some reason, this comes from all the way from a little place called the United Kingdom, and this is from St. Austell.
Don't start with the Brits. And
Right.
all United Kingdomers are Brits, because remember I threatened to ask my Scottish mother if she thought of herself as a Brit, if she's British.
Yeah.
I believe. Okay, it was a long conversation. The abridged notes, the Coles Notes version is, my mother says, well, technically, but I would still correct someone. I'd say, are you British? She'd say, I'm Scottish. And you don't say, no, I'm Scottish. You say, you don't call me, don't call me British.
Probably English people don't do that so much. I hear you. They don't say, no,
I suppose as a Canadian, if someone called me, are you a North American? I'd be like, yeah, but... I'm localized. Yeah. I'll even take Maritimer if need be. Oh no, God no, because then they'd ask me to like clean a fish or something, and I don't want to do that.
Clean a gutter fish. This one, by the way, if you're looking for something that is clearly a Christmas ale,
okay,
this is Peter's Winter Ale from a Suffolk brewery in England, which is on the east coast of England, just south of Norfolk is Suffolk, and this is called St. Peter's Winter Ale. And it's brewed by the St. Peter's Brewery. By the way, of course, this is available in all the NSLCs. It's a winter ale, Christmas cake aromas with a rich black treacle taste.
When are you having all of these winter beers? Are you just... This is your own Advent thing, or like Christmas Day, or...
No, it was following on from what really, when you were saying that there seems to be a lack of Nova Scotian... seasonal ales this Christmas, and I thought, you're right, and I want to drink Christmas ales at Christmas time because I love the whole spicy thing. I love the pumpkin spiced ales this year have been really good because I keep buying them. We keep buying them until they run out.
I think they mostly were ones that we'd tried before, or at least they kind of rehashed. They might have updated the recipe. But what if in Nova Scotia from last year to this year, what if times have been hard, and let's say ingredients went up in cost by
Yeah.
twice percent. Or just all of these factors, and it's not just individual households, which, I could piss and moan, but I'm not going to. What if the breweries are going through this as well? And we know Uncle Leo's or Whiffen closed, Serpent has closed. If they're feeling the crunch and the push, and maybe it's all about quick, we need to make better use of all of our ingredients, and we need to make sure that we're getting money in on the... Because I can't imagine Hellbay made any money on the Christmas tree flavored Tannenbaum. That's a conversation.
You make a good point, don't you? You make a good point that
they're not always successful experiments.
That's right. Doner kebab beer aside. Yeah,
that was some Lucette thing, wasn't it? Or Molson?
Sell to a lot of people. So even though we're looking for unusual craft brews, they still have to make ends meet, and they go into it with the best intentions. All the passionate people that start craft breweries thinking, we love beer, we want to give people a different beer, I'm going to make it myself in small batch, and we're going to sell. But there again, if they don't sell the amount of units that they need to stay afloat, or then they have to go by the wayside.
Keep a roof over your head, you can't keep the lights on, and you got to But in a good way, maybe that means that the ones that we are seeing, the Christmas batches are now the ones we're seeing that did well. Like, everyone loved this last year. We're back with the naughty or nice. We're back with the milk and cookies. We're back with this back every year. So if we already tried them, meh. But we'll do them again, because we're always down for a good seasonal fun one.
But there is no excuse then for the lack of pumpkin spice ales, because as we all laugh, every single year pumpkins are all over the fields, and the huge majority of them don't get bought, and they sit there in the fields until the snow arrives. So we could still use those pumpkins and make some pumpkin spice beers.
We drove past a field of pumpkins still sitting out under the snow the other day, and I went, look at all that! So they were charging like $14 per pumpkin just a few short weeks ago, it feels.
I know. We didn't mark these, mate. I'm marking the Stillwell one a little disappointingly, because it's just like a better than average lager to me, and I'm not really a great lager fan. This is a kind of 6.5.
Yeah, I was thinking the high sixes, maybe a 6.8 from me. So I guess we fell very similarly there. It's still better than a pissy old lager. It's still better than Budweiser. True.
It's still a craft beer. It's made by a good company with good intentions. And you know what? I bet a lot of people really do love this, but it doesn't hit the mark for me. Whereas the Nun on the Run, I thought was a far smoother, malt forward, and just a nicer flavour palette on my old taste buds. They get an 8.
I finished the Stillwell, and I got to go back to the Nun on the Run from Saltbox, and this is it's come alive a second time. This is quite delightful. I was gonna mark it some low to mid 8s, I thought, because partially I don't understand what a cream ale is, and even more so I don't understand what a lagered cream ale is, so maybe it's neither, but it's just so darn good, and it kind of defies description, but I think I'll happily give it an 8.7.
That's quite good. 8.7. Not 8.8?
No. And I don't know why. But it's just, in my mind, I know what I can comfortably give it, and I start with a number in my head, and I just rise until I say, nah. So I say, is that an 8? Yeah. And I say, is that an 8.5? Yep. Is that an 8.6? Yeah, give me an 8.6. 8.7? Yeah. Is that an 8.8? And something stops me. My imagination just says, no. No, you got to stop at 8.7, I think. It makes no sense.
However, if I bought a kit just a standard bog $50 beer kit, and which said cream ale on the side. And I was to leave that, and then a couple of months later, I had 50 bottles of cream ale that tasted like the Stillwell one. I'd be like, I'm happy with that. That's a perfectly palatable, drinkable beer, and I'm perfectly happy with it. But it just needs something more. It's a little bit bland for me.
I wonder if I would feel like something had gone wrong. I don't know if I would be hard on myself about that or not. No, I still stand by him. 6, 7, and an 8, and an 8, 7. Or wait, 6, 8, and an 8, 7. What did I? Those numbers I said a minute ago. 6, 7, and an 6, 8, and an 8, 7. There.
And these are only 4.7 and 4.8s, but we're still slurring on our words after 2 cans.
I'm still quite happy. I mean, it was a bit of a light supper, so maybe that makes a bit of a difference. But it's still delightful. I can't wait, and I'm really hoping that we get some additional.
Me too.
In inclusion and partaking next week of the Christmas whatnots, and we gotta sort all that out because apparently it's difficult to come across. You seem to be the only person I know who can reliably find Nanaimo on a regular basis.
Well, they're disappearing. We've got because we took 6 of the 14 that were available in Kentville today, or was it Kentville we went to? Yes. And there's none left in New Minas, and the Gravediggers, which is very sad. Yeah.
My Nanaimo party story remains the same. We
Don't go there. Maybe you had a bad experience. Maybe it was a bad cat.
Entirely possible.
We'll find out next week.
I had some delicious beers. It was all part of one single evening, and when you have one single evening, you never know. It could be like a lot of everything, and you're like, oh, you drink 5 delicious things, and then someone gives you the second most delicious thing you've ever had in your life, and you're like, meh.
Yeah, okay, we'll see. Hopefully next week we'll get some friends along as well, and we can try this 2 or 3 beers.
I hope so. Yeah, I'll reach out some more again.
All right, mate. I'm out of here. Good night.
I'm glad he tied his hat down for that. So it's a little bit after the 9. After the 9s, that's what we should have called this one. So, if you, thank you for listening to us be ridiculous yet another time, but you can join us once a week, every week. There's no difference, but one sounds more negative. Every week, 8 p.m., we're live in the old YouTube channel, youtube.com/@drinknsdry. You can find our podcast anywhere you find podcasty things. If you look up Drink and NS and Dry, usually is the thing. Or you can find our website at unsupervised.drinkns.beer is where you could specifically go. I don't know, all of this sounds negative, but maybe it's just been a long night for me. So, thank you, and we'll see you next week at around 8 p.m. Should be on time for that, and we'll have some Christmas beers. I want to thank my co-host Ian especially. And have an awesome night, everyone. See you this week. Good night.